For now, though, yeah, we might as well move on to lateRide over here. Let's see what it's all about. So, one night you go for a ride on your motorcycle. You start at midnight, and there's a built-in timer. It automatically begins counting the length of your ride in minutes. Off you go to explore the neighborhood. That's nice. That's kind of poetically written. I like that. When you finally decide to head back, you realize there's a chance the bridges on your route home are up, leaving you stranded. Unfortunately, you don't have your watch on and you don't know what time it is. All you know, thanks to the bike's timer, is that N minutes have passed since midnight. Using the bike's timer, calculate the current time. We want to return an answer as the sum of digits that the digital timer in the format hour, minute would show. And I think it's also worth noting that we're talking about a 24-hour time here, as evidenced by the 1328 as opposed to like 128. Okay, cool. Nice. So they're basically just going to give us a single number. Yeah, okay, so basically it's somewhere between 0 and 24 hours, not including 24 hours. So that's good. That's one fewer thing to worry about, I guess. So what are we trying to do? The sum of the digits. Wait a minute. Why would that be helpful? You know, like we're out on a ride on our motorcycle. We want to know what time it is. Why would it be helpful to know the sum of the digits of what time it is? That's weird. I don't see how that's going to help, unless it has something to do with like the formula according to which the bridges go up. Then yeah, that's okay. Well, either way, we can do it. Okay, so we start with minutes, right? And we've got just 240 minutes. So we want to break this up. We basically want to say, well, let's let hour be assigned the value of, well, how many hours are there going to be? You know, if it was 240 minutes, that would be 4 hours, right? How do we know? Well, divide by 60, right? N divided by 60. Hour is just going to be N divided by 60. Let's just return hour for now, see how it's doing. And what we should find is, yeah, for the first one, it was 4. And it happened to be the only digit, so it actually passed. And there's another one that passed, surprisingly. But yeah, for this one, oh, hey. Okay, sorry, my mouse just stopped. There we go. Yeah, so in this case, not working. We're getting 13.46666, etc. No, not really what we want. What we want is to round this down. I suppose we could round it up as well, but I think it makes more sense to round it down here because, look, this is 240 minutes, right? And that meant 4 hours. But if it was 239 minutes, that would be 3 hours and 59 minutes. It's 3 hours. So we want to round down here. So yeah, we're getting 13 here. Why 13 and not 14? Well, the 14 is coming from the minutes is I think the idea. Anyway, well, actually, not quite. That's different because the 13 is going to get, we're summing the digits, right? So it'd be 1 plus 3. So the 10 must be coming from the minutes digits. Speaking of minutes, let's make another variable and we'll call it min. And maybe I'll even call it minutes so we don't confuse it with like minimum. Clarity, right? I mean, hey, it's worth it. It's 7 characters. We might as well. Okay, so what is this going to be? Well, it's going to be sort of like the leftovers, right? After we do this division by 60, what's going to be left over? What do we have after that? And so, well, we have an operation for that. It's modulus, also known as percent. So n mod 60. What's going to be left over after we take the modulus of n, mod 60? Sorry, what's going to be left over after we try to divide n by 60? That's what I mean. The part of this that was like maybe the problematic element. Well, actually, you know what? I just noticed something here. Let's return minutes for a sec. For the first test, we should get 0. Yeah, there we go. This one, 28. Yeah, and those digits do add up to 10, so it supports our hypothesis from earlier. That's a 59. Yeah, I mean, I have to look into that. But, oh, yeah, here, 28. That's what it was, 1328. Cool. Good. I just thought of a new strategy. Check it out. We've got minutes, which is like our mod 60 here. Can we do this? I'm just curious if we could do something like this. So instead of a math.floor of n divided by 60, what if we did let's do n minus minutes. Like take away the remainder and then divide that by 60. Would that still work? Well, okay. Let's see if it's actually giving us the hour we're looking for. Yeah, it's giving us the 13 here, which is the 13 over there. It's giving us the 4 here. This is good. This is what we're looking for. And I kind of like not having to use math.floor, partly because we're not relying on any other libraries or anything like that. Math isn't like a big one. We're just using sort of like basic operations. I think that's kind of cool. I mean, it's up to you. Anyway, okay, let's see. What do we actually want to do with this? Well, what does the actual time look like, first of all? We could say, like, hour plus minutes. And, no, that's not what we want. We want to see what the time looks like. I was thinking, plus is in concatenation, but of course these are two numbers. Let's put the little colon in between them, and it should look more like a concatenation now. And yeah, that's kind of what we want, right? 4 and 0, 13, 20, that looks good. That looks exactly the way we'd want it to look. So yeah, and that one looks good too. Maybe there's something, oh yeah, okay, sorry, there's lots of other ones. No. Not quite what we're looking for. We want sort of like a padding at the beginning here. So here, check it out. Let's do a function. It's going to be called pad. And we basically, when I say padding, I mean like we want this to be 0, 0. We want for this to be like 0, 4, 0, 0. So if there isn't a 0 before it already, let's get that, right? So pad, it's going to take a number, let's just call it num, and what is it going to return? Well, basically, if num is greater than 9, then it's just going to return the number itself. Otherwise, it's going to return 0 plus the number. That's basically the idea. So let's see. Let's pad the hour, and we'll also pad the minutes as well. Now this is just padding for like a 2-digit number. Great, yeah, that's working. But we can make this like arbitrarily long. We can make it padding for like an arbitrarily large number. However many digits we want to fix it to is sort of the idea. Great, so this is working good. I like that a lot better. But I have to say, I'm getting kind of sick of this. Like, sure, it's cool that we can do this concatenation and stuff like that, but you look at other languages and the way you can just sort of integrate the value of a variable within the string, like, what was it, %f and stuff like that, I think in C++. Python definitely had a way of doing that as well. And so, in some ways, it's kind of frustrated me that we don't have a way of doing that in JavaScript. But lo and behold, we have a way of doing it now. So I'm not sure when this was introduced. I feel like maybe it was an ES6 thing, but we have this string literal thing that we can use. And now, basically we want something that's going to be like our min, right? So we're returning that, and keep in mind, this isn't going to execute what's below, it's just returning. So yeah, our min, great. But we want the actual value of like the variable hour. So the way we do that is we put in money sign, open up a brace, and then whatever's in that brace, that's just arbitrary JavaScript in there. We can put whatever we want in there. So let's try executing that and see what we get. Oh, not minutes. That's what we want. Okay, so there we go. It's giving us a string, but again, it's not quite what we want. We want to pad this. Pad hour. And pad the minutes as well. So notice we're putting just like arbitrary code in here. We're putting script right inside this string, which is so cool. And there we go. Yeah. And like, we could put whatever we want here. This and this is cool or something like that. Like it's just going to get integrated right in there. We could even put this whole function in here, like all of this could be just done right in here. So instead of pad hour, we could say something like, hour is greater than 9, do a little ternary, and if it is, give us hour. If it's not, give us a 0 plus hour, something like that. And okay, maybe I'll switch that back to what it was before, just the colon in there. We don't need that, it's cool. Although we could put in something like, the time is, or something like that, run that, and yeah, the time is 4. Okay, cool. And notice we didn't have to use the pad function over here. In fact, that's probably a better way to do the pad function. So we could just say return num is greater than 9. If it is, And we'll put the question mark for the ternary. If it is, just give us the num. If it's not, give us 0 plus the num. So we'll try that, and we'll replace this whole thing with just pad, hour, done. And there we go. Okay, now we don't want this whole the time is thing. In fact, you know what? We don't really want any of this. This is not really useful to the problem. Console.log. We'll console log it just because, you know, it's fun, it's cool, it's informative for the reader. So we'll do that. Great. The time is 4. And now we're just returning that string. But if you think about it, that's not really what we want. Okay, I'm really going to have to change my mouse battery after this. Sorry about the jerkiness. Okay, what do we want to actually return? So we want the digit sum of the hours and the digit sum of the minutes. That's basically it. So we did this thing before where we did like, you know, number dot prototype dot digit sum, digit sum, digit sum, digit sum. Okay, there we go. What a struggle. It's this function where, oh, am I on French keyboard again? Wow, this is a real struggle. Okay, there we go. Okay, so, what was I even doing? Okay, digit sum. So we want to say, let num be assigned the value of this. You know, whatever we're calling this with, whatever number we're calling this with. Number is this. And I want to say while num, while that exists, we basically want to say, well, num is going to get assigned the value of math.floor num divided by 10. We're basically just going to burn off the last digit. But we also want to add that digit onto this sum pile here. But what is that? Well, let sum start as 0, I guess. And notice we're using lets in here. We're not going to use a const for either of these because we are going to change the value of num and we are going to change the value of sum. And that's the thing that we're going to return at the end. Now, this is something we did already on one of the previous tasks. So if you want more info on it, you can go back and look at that. Or you know, you can ask me right now. Up to you. Digit sum takes a capital. Okay, cool. So we want to do digit sum of the hours. Let's just do the digit sum of the hours for now just to see if that's actually working. Hour.digit sum. Hopefully that doesn't give us some kind of weird error. And you know what? While we wait for that to load, we might as well change these to constants because I think they can both be constants. We're not changing them, right? So, okay. What have we got here? It's giving us 4. And 1 plus 3 is 4. Okay, cool. That's what we're looking for. It's giving us 4. 0 plus 4. Nice. What about this one? 2 plus 3, 5. Okay, so digit sum seems to be working for hour. And then what about for minute? Minutes dot digit sum. Boom. Execute that, and there we go. Okay, so that's pretty not bad. That's giving us what we want. We're using constants over here. We've got a function for things that we're reusing, although technically all of that is useless. But anyway, the point is, we've got this thing. Now, I mentioned this in the past. This is what we call like a monkey patch, right? It's something where we're changing the prototype of an already existing object, a built-in. And we probably don't want to do that. That's kind of, it's frowned upon. It's frowned upon. So let's not do that. Now, thankfully, there's an easier way to do this anyway. I mean, these are going to be 2-digit numbers. At most, they might even be 1-digit numbers. So basically, I'm just going to say, well, let's take the hour mod 10. You know, that's the first, or technically that's the second digit of our hour time there. So what else do we want here? Well, just math.floor of hour divided by 10. I mean, that's what the first digit is going to be. If they're only 2-digit numbers, then yeah, the first digit will just be that. I mean, okay, what I should say is strictly what this is going to give us is if we were to take away the last digit from the number. So if we start with 13, we would just get the 1 here. If we started with something that was longer, like 240, we would get 24. But we sort of know hour and minute are only going to be 2-digit numbers, so this is probably fine. What else do we want to add to this? And I'm going to have to start a new line, but basically we'll do the exact same thing with minutes. Minutes divided by 10 plus minutes mod 10. And let's run that. Let's actually get that new line we're talking about in here. And it seems like it's passing all the tests, so that's good. That's, I don't know if I like how that looks. Let's do it like that. Okay, good. Good. Presentation. Okay, so we'll run that and cool. Let's submit this one. I think this one's good. Excellent. Okay, so that's nice stuff. That feels good. We're passing all the hidden tests. We'll close that for now. Hey, look at this. We made it to a new level. Oh, we're trainee level 3 now. This feels good. Yeah, really getting some use out of these wooden swords. All right, we'll close that for now. Is there anything left to be said about this one? I don't know. I mean, if anyone has like a different strategy they'd like to use, that's fine. Maybe there's a way we could sort of directly get these numbers instead of even getting minutes an hour. Like if we could just, because I mean, if you think about it, like this number over here, this is just n mod 60 mod 10. You know, so like, couldn't we just get away with doing n mod 10 for that one? Wouldn't that work the same way? Yeah, it does, because it's just n mod 60 mod 10. Divided by 60, what's your remainder? Divide that by 10, what's the remainder? It should be the same thing, even if we don't divide by 60 first. Okay, so we could do something like that. We could probably come up with like a more mathematical, more direct way to get this, not involving any additional variables. But keep in mind, like this is still big O of 1. This is constant time, because it's not like the number of variables we're putting in memory here depends on how many or like what the size of the inputs is or anything like that. Like it's going to be constant time. So, you know, I don't think we need to worry too much about that. Did we submit this? I think we submitted this. Yeah, we submitted this. Oh yeah, that's how we leveled up. Okay, cool. So I think this is good. We'll leave it here for now. Yeah. Let me know if you have any questions, comments, or concerns. And, you know, give yourself a pat on the back or a round of applause or something like that. You did it. You did it.